It feels absolutely fantastic to be recognised by Cardiff University. I graduated in 2002 and being here today has brought it all back because it's in the same building. You know, the ceremony is very similar, though you're allowed to whoop and cheer now when you weren't back in 2002. But I had 4 fantastic years at Cardiff, 4 of the best years of my life, in fact. And it was the only university I was ever interested in going to. And it really met my expectations. So to be recognised it's just such an honour. I'm really, really gobsmacked. I would love to congratulate all of the graduates because they've done so well. They know better than anyone how hard it is to get a degree. And you know there were people receiving their doctorates as well and their masters, and they're just adding to the world's knowledge base. It's just such a fantastic achievement. So I was really proud of them all. I found it quite an emotional experience, actually. What advice would I give to the class of 2023? I had 4 fantastic years if you include my MA. I loved my course, but I'd gone as far as I could. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do next. I just had this sort of nebulous idea that I wanted to be involved in comedy, but I didn't know how you went about that. I never met a comedian, and I never met anyone who worked in comedy. So I drifted for a bit. And at the time, when I was 22, 23, 24, it felt, it felt ominous. But looking back, I was a 42-year-old with 2 children. I hadn't realised really how young I was, and I think I used a lot of my 20s to discover what I was going to do next and to do different things and experiment, and that's absolutely fine because your 20s, you're so young. And obviously I'm not speaking out to the mature students, and there are some mature students who've used Cardiff to alter the direction of their lives, and I really, really applaud and commend them. But I really, really empathise with the people from today who aren't quite sure what comes next, but you've got a great degree under your belt, and it's fine not to know what's coming next. And there might be some jobs you do that you don't enjoy, but you'll get there in the end, I think. That's certainly been my experience. Well, for the ones who are anxious and stressed, there are far more things to access now than there were when I was a student. And if you do feel anxious and stressed on the day of graduating, you're not alone. I can't think of any of the 1,500 people who were in that room today walked in and were like, yeah, this feels like me. This feels pretty good, actually. So they're perfectly reasonable feelings. And those feelings have been experienced and felt by students for decades. So you're not doing anything wrong. My favourite memories at Cardiff, I've still got loads of friends from Cardiff. I went to see Pulp quite recently, and I met up with a lot of them. I met up with quite a lot of them for a birthday thing a few weeks ago as well. And when I walk into a room and they're there, I feel 19 again. And those friendships haven't changed. And I would say to the graduates today, the graduates, you must cherish those friendships because it's an amazing place to make friends for life. In terms of memories, I didn't have a computer when I was a student. So I used to do all of my essays in the main building, in the 24-hour computer library. I'd be there sort of 5 in the morning writing essays about the miners' strike and the poll tax riot. Just thinking it's 5 to 6 in the morning, there has to be a better way than this. So that's what I think of when I think of my time as a student. Was I part of any societies? Like lots of people, I joined about 15 societies in the first week and then never did anything again. So I was probably an official member of the Film Society and the Gum Gums, the Welsh Society, and sports and things. I was actually very lazy. That's the one thing I wish I was able to change. If I could go back in time, I'd have done more. I drank a lot of tea and I watched a lot of telly, which is probably not the most culturally edifying thing to do when you're a student, but that's what I ended up doing. I think my work, especially when it's the more social history aspect, is enormously influenced by my time at Cardiff. I did Welsh history modules as part of my degree with an absolutely exceptional lecturer called Bill Jones, Professor Bill Jones, who was a really, really influential person in my life. And I did my MA with Bill. And there was a politics lecturer called Pete Dorey. And I read his book again about a year ago. And his lectures were amazing. And I used to turn up and I used to think, this guy knows everything, it's incredible. And I think it's a really valuable thing to study something that you're passionate about. And I understand that there are people doing very vocational degrees because they've got one eye on a career, but I just loved history and politics, and so that's why I was studying it. Well, if you're not from Wales, coming to Cardiff Uni will probably be your first experience of the Welsh language. So, I mean, if you can learn a few words, that's absolutely fantastic. And, you know, it's everywhere. It's actually, the language itself is more, it's more apparent in the street and things. Bilingualism has improved since I was a student here. And I think that's fantastic. But yeah, if you learn a few words, we love it. We never ever have a go at learners for learning.